Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Here's your dog's best friend. I know it sounds like a cliche, but it really is true. She does so much great holistic body work with dogs and also works with other animals as well. And we're gonna go down an interesting road today in terms of the universe, shall we say that? Melanie Amarosa, Happiness for Dogs, back with us. Welcome, Melanie. How you doing today?
Doing great, Steve. How are you today?
I'm fantastic.
Wonderful.
And you know what? I had some great bonding time with my dog yesterday. I've been busy, haven't really spent the quality time with him, and it was just so great being out with him, walking with him. You forget when you're busy how amazing dogs are. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's like you forget because you get busy.
Yeah, it's amazing. They really help us focus on the here and now and get our head out of all that noise that we live in a lot of times.
We take them for granted. Many of us. Yeah. Because, it's something that you see every day with someone, and sometimes you don't put the gratitude on our animals. Today, we're gonna fast forward into the fifth dimension. Or am I saying that correctly? Is the fifth dimension already here?
It is here, and we are slowly evolving into fifth dimension living, which is living more in harmony, shedding all of the negative associations that we have that hold us back, unhealthy relationships, be they with ourselves, with people, with animals, with food. It's just sort of coming into a more harmonious, higher vibrational frequency way of living.
Long time coming, though.
Well, it's as with any evolutionary process. It's, you've got to ramp up to it. You got to build that foundation, and then, asking people to look at themselves, their relationships with their animals, again, with people, with food, with anything, and to really take a cold, hard look at it and see if that is serving them in their best way. It's hard for people to do that.
It is, and we feel guilty. And what you just said, in my journey, somebody said to me about 2 years ago about some people in my life, and she said to me, "Yeah, they don't serve you anymore." And I thought, "Oh, wow, that hurts." How do you think that of people, that they don't serve you? It almost sounds very self-centered, but it's really not. It means that they're just not in alignment with your values and morals or your universe anymore.
So, and look at it this way too. They came into your life for a specific reason. They came into your life to help you with something. And that might be looking at what doesn't serve you and what doesn't help you live your life in the harmonious way that you want to live it, and learning to let go of some of those relationships that don't work with us anymore. So they came into your life for a very specific purpose.
I agree.
Mission accomplished.
I agree. I haven't figured out the full purpose of a certain group of people. There is one person in particular. There is no doubt in my mind, and you couldn't have foreseen it, but it kind of all came together, and then they kind of all went away. And like they say, for a season or a reason. And I put that person in the season category, and I'm sure, I taught her a lot of stuff too. And that was that. And that's great. And so the fifth dimension, are some of us still in the third dimension?
Oh, I think a vast majority of humanity is still living in that third dimension. We get glimpses of what fifth dimension living looks like, and we start to work toward it and aspire toward it. And it may not be a journey that we complete in this lifetime.
How do you know what dimension you're writing in for the most part? And can you, so two-part question here, can you have one foot in the fourth and then one foot in the fifth?
We shift back and forth. It's not an all or nothing type of proposition. And, we may backslide a bit and get caught in some old patterns and habits that we need to, look at and go, all right, I really need to learn to break away from this and be steadfast about it. Again, this is a whole learning and evolutionary process. So you're going to kind of have that ebb and flow back and forth as you come into it.
Mm. Would you say that the fifth dimension, now let's rewind here. There was a group called the Fifth Dimension, 60s group. Okay. And the age of Aquarius, and they would talk about the age of Aquarius. Is that what they were referring to, that it, something was coming our way? And that song goes back to, I think, like 1969 or something like that.
Oh yeah. And fantastic group. But yes, some of us lead the way into this more enlightened way of being, and some of us follow. We're not everybody can be at the head of the pack. And so the more of us that start to experience living in harmony and living in balance and shedding those things that don't serve us well anymore, we start to act as examples for others. And so we lead by example in living that lifestyle. And a lot of times our pets are living in the fifth, and they're slowly helping drag us along with them.
Wow. Melanie, where are you?
I have been practicing fifth dimension qualities for quite a while now. And before I even really knew about the fifth dimension, there were things that I was doing, especially in living in the fifth dimension with my pets and animal companions, that sort of, I guess, were the precursor to me looking at the rest of my life and saying, okay, well, if I'm living this way with my animals, why can't I live this way with humans? And, my attitude toward work or, politics or whatever. My grandfather kind of led the way and opened that door into animal relationships for me. And my grandfather, we're coming up on his birthday here in a couple of days. He was born in 1904, lived with the land, hunted, was a conservationist from the very early age. And to watch him work with animals and just his very quiet way of being and the way they responded to him and the way that they trusted him and worked with him, it was amazing to me because it was such a different way of being than those Disney movie scenarios that we all kind of grew up with and are still experiencing. And part of it is appreciating that our animal companions are still wild animals at heart, number one. And number two, they've got a lot to teach us if we open up to it. And some are much more evolved, just like some humans are a little bit more involved and a little further on this journey than others. But they help us look and examine that. And one of the phrases that I like to use is moving from parentship into partnership with our animal companions.
Interesting. And by the way, your grandfather is an Aries.
Yeah.
Was an Aries, right? Aries are good people. They're interesting people, but they're very, in my understanding, and I have so many Aries in my life, they're very empathetic, whether they want to be or not.
Yes. Yeah. And again, his sensitivity to nature and just his understanding of how the environment and the ecosystem just all interwove, and how it all supported itself, and the respect he had for that
Yes.
was just a gift that I didn't start to unpack until later in life.
The word respect is the one I was just thinking of, and then you said it. And that's, yeah. So parentalship and partnership, interesting concept. Before I even go there with you, I'll go
Yeah.
back to that. You said our animals are wild, and we forget that. We really do. And it's amazing when you look at that. They are, they've been bred to our dogs and packs and things like that. They're wild animals, but they don't act that way more times than not, many more times than not when they're with us. But I forget. I just,
Right. But they still have that inner wisdom.
Yes.
And that connectedness to source and and to each other, that is something that many people don't fully understand. I think a lot of us don't fully understand it at all, and it deserves respect and recognition.
And I think part of that is their unique quality in terms of their instinct. They got it. They got it going on. And like you said, they bring us to the present. They don't worry about the stuff we worry about. They just focus on what's important. So moving into the fifth dimension, being a parent as opposed to a partner with our animals, how do you view that?
So when we move from third toward fifth dimension living, parentship is for people with animals can be a sort of an unhealthy relationship. We rely on that animal to plug some of the holes that we have in our lives. We look to them to reassure us, to affirm us, to approve of us, and to fill the whatever gaps that we have and unmet needs. And while they're happy to do that, there's a strong way of working with that, and there's a weaker way of working with that. And when we think of parentship, we think of an authoritarian figure. I am here to lead you, teach you, tell you what you need to do. I'm the authority, that type of thing. When we look at partnership, we look at asking those animals to work with us, to be with us, and respecting them as much as we ask them to do things for us, that respecting the gifts that they give us. And we really pride ourselves on, I'm a dog mom, I'm a dog dad, or I'm a cat mom, or a cat dad, or and we get the t-shirts and we get the hats and the bumper stickers and all this other stuff.
Right.
And really, I think that does, while I applaud that enthusiasm for having that animal in your life and celebrating them, it doesn't always serve us well, because we kind of, again, it's not a healthy give and take in a lot of relationships.
Interesting what you're saying here, because it sounds almost like a human to human relationship, but we're doing those things with our dogs or our animals. In other words, let's say you've got some things you need to heal from, and you're putting it on your pet.
Yeah.
Or things are missing in your life and you're looking to your pet, like you could be looking to another human to fill those needs.
And the other part of that too is that we look at our pets as a distraction.
Yes.
So they can be distracting us, or our view of our relationship with them is a distraction from actually looking deeper at ourselves and how we live and work with them.
So are you saying that we look to our dogs and pets as a distraction because we don't want to deal with what we really should be dealing with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So one key trick that again, this is something that I used before I even really started learning and studying about living in the fifth dimension and started, working in that direction. Was when I was training my dog, or either of them, and they would do something willingly, wholeheartedly, they would really execute a behavior super well.
Hmm.
My response was, thank you. That was fantastic. Oh my God, you're wonderful. So instead of saying, oh, good boy, because again, or good girl, because again, that puts us in that authoritarian, it's up to us to dole out approval or not. Instead, celebrating when they do work with us, acknowledging that and being grateful and having that gratitude for that relationship of trust and support that we're building for each other.
So let's say your dog does something good.
Yeah.
What's the proper thing to say so the message gets through?
I say thank you, and I focus on gratitude because words have emotions. And again, when you tell somebody they're good or they're bad, that has a very different feel to it than saying thank you or hey, can we try that again? And
Yeah.
if you start to look at it with that sort of language shift, it really changes where you're coming from. And it's coming more from a heart-centered place of being than a head place.
I get it. And how many of us say thank you to our dog for doing something? You know, I usually, when I take him out, because I have limited time and I need him to go potty, and it's like, it's a good boy. It's a good boy, you know, which is okay, but thank him,
Right.
you're sending a positive energy of gratitude within the thank you energetically to your animal.
Yeah.
Wow. And gratitude is so important. We should all practice it.
Uh, Definitely. And I'm going to say, breaking away from that good boy, bad boy, or good dog, bad dog
Yep.
vocabulary is hard. That is so ingrained in us. And it's not that you can't ever say it, but and don't beat yourself up if if you say good or bad. But still be aware that when you say that, follow it up with a thank you and start
Mhm.
to build that habit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? When you say that we're used to the good, the bad from our upbringing, our parents
It-
did it.
It's a judgment.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could be as simple as you're two and you reach over to the table for the first time. You finally, been able to see over the table, and you reach for the salt shaker, and mom or dad says, no, 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 don't touch that. Can't, that's not good. No,
Yep.
no, bad, bad. Um, they meant well, but what do you hear? Bad. And sometimes you hear good if you got some good grades, or learned a couple of letters in the alphabet at 4 years old or whatever it might be. So I
Yeah.
think we're kind of conditioned for that. So we just pass it on to our kids and our pets.
Exactly. And and that's part of breaking away from that and looking at sort of a different way of being. And again,
Hmm.
shedding some of those habits that don't serve us.
Yeah. Well, the stuff we're talking about here, I would have to believe is more of a fifth dimension mentality.
Yeah.
Hmm. I would have to say, in the last year and a half, I'm riding my way to the fifth dimension. I think I am, as it sounds like you are, in terms of what we think, what we're mindful of. Interesting.
There's a huge energetic shift, and the vibrational frequencies are increasing and multiplying at a far more rapid rate. in the last 15, 20 years than they had before that. So, again, we're sort of coming to a culmination of a really neat shift that's going to serve us very well.
Are you deep into astrology? Do you skim the surface? Are you interested in it?
I am interested in it. I skim the surface. I am, very curious about it. It's just not something that I've had a lot of time to look into, but
Yeah.
it's on the radar. It's one of those things that, one of these days I'm going to click on a book, or I'm going to, come across something that's going to just be the right time for me to jump into that.
I'm the same exact way. And there was something that was taking place in March astrologically that was very impactful. I don't even know what it was. I just remember people talking about it.
Yeah.
And somebody did connect it to fifth dimension theories. So, I'm
Oh, I'll
not really
check it
sure.
out.
I'm not really sure what it was.
Well, I'll
Uh,
see if I can find something on it.
so I'm intrigued. We got a couple of minutes left here in terms of the behavior of our dogs.
Yeah.
Let's say you're trying to train your dog. For me, I moved trying to get him to go to the bathroom outside. I'm in between houses, so I don't have a yard for him where I can just open the door and let him go at the moment.
Yeah.
That being said, how do you promote that positive behavior? Is it as simple as just thanking?
Yes. And taking the stress and the anxiety out of, you got to hurry up and go. Because when you're doing that and you're like, hey, you got to go, like, I got stuff to do, you got to hurry up. The more you talk with your dog when they're trying to concentrate on, sniffing and finding the right spot to go, clear yourself, ground yourself, just, make yourself a tree and let the dog go and do. And because otherwise we distract them. We're moving around, we're trying to, well, you liked the spot yesterday, let me bring you over here, maybe you'll go again over here. And sort of interfering,
Yep.
and just sort of take that moment to breathe and get out of their space a little bit and see how that
Yeah.
works for you.
If I'm going to be a tree, I don't want to be peed on. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But
You've been around enough dogs, it does happen.
yeah, but something's very clear, Melanie, in that they're picking up on your energy. And I a lot of times do just what you're saying. It's like, 6 o'clock in the morning. I know he's got to go. It's like cold out. It's warming up, but it can be cold. And it's like, okay, all right, come on, let's go. Let's go. I'm moving him along, but an extra 25 seconds isn't really going to make that much of a difference outside. And that can give him, because I'm sending energy like, oh, let's go. And he's picking up on it without a
Right.
doubt. Interesting. Yeah. You know what? I think I said this from the beginning when we started talking, but you run so many layers deeper than I thought in the beginning. I viewed you as, all right, she's a massage therapist for dogs, animals, has a lot of insight. Now we're talking, a few podcasts later about the fifth dimension. How super cool is that?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's been a real treat. And, again, it is learning to support our animal companions on all levels, not just, massaging a sore muscle here, but it's healing both body, mind, and soul.
Like we said before, we take them for granted. We also take for granted what's going on here, and energetically, instinctually, all of that stuff. There's a lot happening. It's not just a dog that you love and jumps on the couch with you at night. There's a lot more going on there for sure. Melanie, if somebody wants to learn more, talk with you, how do they find you?
You can find my website. It is happiness4dogs.com. My email is happiness4dogs LLC@gmail.com. And feel free to reach out to me with any questions.
Fantastic talking with you.
Thank you so much. It's been a
Yeah.
wonderful time.
Yeah, same thing. Learned a lot, and look forward. I don't know. My gut tells me there'll be a chance we'll be getting together sometime in the future.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.